Okay. Sorry about that. Clicking the wrong buttons on my own stream. How are you guys doing today? I feel like it's Tuesday, right? Time is weird. It feels like it's been a while since we've talked, you and I stream. Okay, it feels like it's been a little bit. Okay, but it hasn't been that long. When's my last stream? Thursday? I think so. We got some great shows coming up this week. Today I wanted to do just a light stream, nothing too crazy. I want to go over a few odds and ends here and there that I thought were worth covering, but maybe not worth having a whole show over. I also wanted to take call-ins and provide you some space if you disagree with me or you want to fight with me or anything like that, to do some call-ins, because we got some great panel shows coming up, some great debates coming up. Tomorrow, and let me just tell you about them while people shuffle in, okay, right? Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the future of MAGA. What does that look like in a post-Trump world? Trump isn't going to be on the ballot ever again, at least not legally, right? And what comes next for that movement? Does it just disintegrate? Are there other leaders in space? Like, what is the future of MAGA? And we got some great guests to talk about that, some new people, and I'm excited to have them. It should be fun. And some old faces, too. On Thursday, we're going to talk about it from a little bit of a different perspective. Recently asked a question. How did I phrase it? I said, when the Democrats win, should there be Nuremberg-style trials for MAGA? Destiny says there should. And I'm going to have him on to talk about it. And we're going to have on him Counterpoints, Staxiums, Prime Kai. That'll be Thursday's show. And that'll be a little bit of a different conversation. So that's going to be fun. Third, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show. Concluding postscript. I was going through with withdrawals. Well, don't worry. You're going to get your fix today. You're going to get your fix today, and it will be fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy today's show. Again, like I said, we're going over odds and ends, things that aren't yet worth a whole show, but are nonetheless worth looking into a little bit. Did you guys know that there is a new Christian nationalism documentary coming out? A documentary, right? They released a trailer recently that they had to delete the first trailer. We will be showing you why, because if you put it up, it doesn't actually go away. But they deleted it anyway, but we're going to see what they deleted, okay? And then we're going to watch the current trailer. It's not very long. It's about a minute, a little over. And we're going to talk about Christian nationalism a bit. If this is their strongest soldiers, I'm not very worried. Let me say that. But I'll wait till I'll give it a couple minutes for people to kind of collect themselves, get in here, realize I'm streaming. It always takes you guys a minute. Like, this is why I go live like 5 minutes early, usually from 6. Is because it always takes you guys a minute. There's always like the first 10 minutes is about like 10 people, and then you guys all show up after that, after everyone realizes I'm streaming. So we're just killing time till then. I don't want people to miss out on my live electric content, okay? My commentary, if you will, on the goings-on. We're also going to be talking about the Epstein files, gang. Today, in the House, they voted, I think, 470 to 1 to release the Epstein files. And this after Trump said to stop blocking it and to get it out in there. We're going to talk about what that all is about, okay, and what angles people are going to spin this as, and what they're already spinning it this as, and the politicking around the event. We're going to be discussing it a little bit, and it should be fun. Brian Orellana, Christianity is cool. I agree. Actual Christianity is cool. Christian nationalism is uncool. But we're going to talk about it, right? Coffee Margin says, I heard that MAGA blows. Big, beautiful bill, right? That was the funniest rumor. So for those of you who don't know, there's a rumor going around based on an email that Jeffrey Epstein wrote that Trump gave Clinton a blowjob at the Epstein place, right? And that they have video of it or something as blackmail. I think it was just a joke. I don't think it actually happened, but it would be really funny if it did. That's going to be so... It's a funny meme. It's a funny meme. But, yeah, I don't know if that one's true, gang. I wish it was, but I don't think that one's true. But it's funny. So, it's got legs. A little bit. Short Stack Goblin says, "You're wrong, Wick. We live inside your walls." You know, I do hear scratching every now and then. Okay, I thought it was mice, but maybe it's you guys. Venom Platypus says, "Did you know you were gay before you got out?" Funny question. I still don't know I'm gay. Is it gay to love women, gang? Are we talking that kind of gay that Nick Fuentes says, where it's gay to love women? Because I do. I like women. Women are nice. They smell nice. Okay, they feel nice. They're sometimes nice to me. Not always. Sometimes they're very mean. But sometimes they're very nice to me. And I like that. I appreciate that. That's very nice. But if that makes me gay, I guess I'm gay. Sure Stack Goblin says this. "Look, Clinton in the late 90s, that's a good-looking man. I'd do it." I don't judge. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, okay? Not my thing. But hey, if you're into it. Third, 1234 says Kash Patel is going to be uber busy these 3 years. Did you guys hear he sent us like Secret Service over to his girlfriend's house? I guess she was getting threats or something. I'm not sure, but he sent like a bunch of federal agents over to protect her. Honestly, I'm not mad about that. Look, if I was the director of the FBI and someone was threatening someone I cared about and loved, fuck yeah, I'm going to use the power of my office to protect them from threats. I don't think that was wrong of him to do. I think that's perfectly okay to do. I think if someone in your life is getting threats and you have the power to stop or to protect them, then absolutely you should do that. So no shade on that guy for that. And this is what I mean by things that don't deserve their own show, but it's worth talking about and worth covering. Yeah, I don't think people should be giving Kash Patel like shit about that. There's so many things he should be getting shit for, but that I don't think that's a worthy criticism. I don't know. Do you guys disagree? What would you do? One's in chat. If you were the director of the FBI and your significant other was getting threats, would you guys use the FBI to protect them? Would you send like federal agents to protect them at the taxpayer's expense? I would. Or would you be like, no, you're just a citizen. You have to do everything the citizenry does? No. Take some privilege when you can. I mean, look, of all the things that we could be getting upset about the corruption of this administration and its lackeys, about the crypto scams, about the bribes from Qatar and other places, about the harassment, the attacks on free speech, this ain't it, gang, okay? I don't know. Just pick better things to get mad about. They're there. They exist. I don't know. Kash has a girlfriend? Yeah, apparently. Okay. I think we've stalled enough. Let's talk about what we're going to be talking about today. Let's get into it. Let me bring up the trailer. We're going to watch the trailer first, gang. Okay. And we're going to... Hold on, let me adjust it so you guys see it fine. It should be okay. This should be good. So this was released by an individual who is pro-Christian nationalism. He is a an apologist for Christian nationalism. So I want you to keep this in mind while you're watching this. This trailer was made, and this series was made pro-Christian nationalism. They're trying to sell you or to paint Christian nationalism in a positive light. That's what they're doing, okay? So I want you to keep that in mind as a context as we go through this, as we watch this. Let's roll the tape.
There are millions of people who are lost for eternity because we said, no, we just don't want to have a Christian culture anymore. We want secularism instead.
Americans understood their nation to be a Christian nation. And that is despite the fact that there's no explicit mention of Christ in the Constitution or the preamble. It was just commonly understood.
Freedom of religion is, in all intents and purposes, a really bad idea. I don't want freedom of religion because I don't think Jesus wants freedom of religion.
Wow. This hasn't at all been what I expected.
We can't sing God Bless America and at the same time expect that God won't curse America for the permission of allowing other people to worship gods on our soil.
In the United States. It's the great evil of our day. And so to stop murdering little babies will have ineffable impact, I think.
Conservatives, Christians, we have historically been really good at talking, and we have been less good at acting. We've been less good at building political coalition, at supporting Christian candidates and putting them forward.
But the will to power is the only true prerequisite for change. All throughout history, change has occurred in biblical times, in church history, gospel age times. So the last 2,000 years, we have case after case after case of radical political and cultural change for entire swaths of people, entire nations, that occurred with a remnant, a small but unified, deliberate, strategic minority that had the will to power.
There you go, gang. It's coming out this year. What are your thoughts on that, gang? The trailer. I'm curious what your initial reactions are here. What do you think? $5 from Testicle Johnson. Wick, you once said the Romans knew how to deal with Christians properly. Could you elaborate? Thanks for the $5, sir. Even though they're Canadians. Oh, Headless Chicken in a year and meaning 365 days. Okay, it's coming out next year, the beginning of next year, but it's very soon. Okay, it's a matter of months away. Okay, don't give me shit for that. Is that Matt Walsh? It's Temu Matt Walsh. It's the generic Walmart brand Matt Walsh, who, for whatever reason, decides to groom himself to look exactly like Matt Walsh, I guess. But this is the second trailer, actually. They had to delete the first, and in a minute, we're gonna watch why. But I want to get the initial reactions here from this, right? This feels, at least as someone who's very familiar with Christianity, as one of the least Christian things that I've ever seen. This idea that people are not free to choose, and that the state must force God upon you, and if you try to worship in any other way than what is state approved, they will destroy you or they will forbid you from doing this. Gang, that is the opposite of Christianity. Okay. No Cal Mike says there's a specific pseudo-intellectual dress code developing. They all wear suits. Look, again, remember, this guy who's producing this documentary is very favorable towards Christian nationalism, right? He is an apologist for Christian nationalism. And again, they think that they can trick you. That if they look like, if they look well done, if they look intellectual, if they have the tweed, if they have the suit, if they have the tie, if they have the aesthetics down, then you will overlook what they are actually telling you, what they are actually saying. It's a grift. It's a way to go about to get past your defenses and your barriers. It's to appear as something that they are not. A wolf dressed in the clothing of sheep, if you will. Okay. Let's watch the part they deleted because I think it's interesting. Okay. Give me a second. Here we are. This was deleted. The deleted scene. They already got deleted scenes, but it's never deleted forever on the internet, okay? You guys ready?
What do you see as the greatest threat to Christian nationalism as it's trying to make its roots?
Christians.
How so?
Christians are gay. Fake and gay, to be more precise. Christianity is a feminized religion.
It's a perfect clip. I can't think of a better clip to symbolize Christian nationalism than that clip right there. I can't think of a better way to portray it as what it actually is. So props to them, at least initially, for portraying it openly and honestly. And Joel Webben there, he's not wrong when he says that the greatest threat to Christian nationalism is Christians. Christians who know God, who know the Bible, who know Scripture, who worship God and try to follow Him, are absolutely 100% a threat to Christian nationalism. It's one of their biggest threats because they know what God has said on the matter. Okay? They've read His words. They've tried to follow His teachings. Okay? And they know what these people are selling is not Christianity. Okay? So he's not wrong there. But the fact that he calls them faking gay, that it's an effeminized religion, okay, I think is also very telling. Again, Joel Webben did this. I want to be clear about who this guy is. Let me find I have another little clip for you, dear viewer, dear reader, dear everyone. Okay.
Hooked up with his measuring tape.
Hold on. Let me get it up for you.
So Wes showed up with his measuring tape, and I think it's fitting for this episode because we're talking about masculinity and physical strength. And Wes is wonderfully gifted at motivating through mockery. And so he measured every single part of my body.
All it wanted was chest and waist, and I'm just doing all of it.
And all the every single measurement, your thighs, everything you could imagine. And with each measurement, Wes would he'd take out the tape, he'd measure, and then he would go, ooh. And then when we got done, he said, Joel, you only beat me on one measurement, waist. And then I said, I bet you I beat you on two measurements, waist, but also crotch.
Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Fake and gay indeed. It's all aesthetics to these people. You guys understand this, right? It's all about aesthetics. It is the whitened sepulchres, okay? That they look nice on the outside, but in they're full of rotten bones and corpses. That's what they are. That's who they are. That's all they are. Let's not pretend they have any intellectual backing to what they are saying. They have no actual arguments. If you have followed my channel, you have seen me argue with Christian nationalists on several occasions, including Jim Bob, including Andrew Wilson, including a few Cruciblites and things like that. And you've seen it live in real time. They have no actual arguments. It's all about calling you gay, which they did during the show, and they thought that they were winning. They got beat out. They got blown out. Crazy shit. Crazy work. Sarcastic Warlock for $10 to say, as a pagan nationalist, the Christian nationalists are a doom that must not happen but will happen. Degenerates. Also, how dare they invoke Nietzsche? Christianity should not have a will to power, which is, again, very anti-Christian to do. So, first of all, nationalism in and of itself is a bad thing, and we've already gone over that. But I can do that again, and we can do that again if you'd like. But Christian nationalism, to me at least, because I was raised Christian, I was raised Mormon, right? And I practiced what I preached, right? I went on a mission. I taught this stuff. I tried to live it best I could. Gang, it's offensive. It's like wearing the skin of a relative I have fond memories of and love, and just besmirching their character, besmirching their name, dragging them through the mud, making a mockery of all they stood for. It's gross to me. I dislike it. It's fundamentally a mockery of everything Christ stood for, right? Alishna says, remember when churches were complaining Jesus was too woke? Again, it's been a process. There has been a corruption within many Christian, quote-unquote, churches in the Christian faith that has been spreading and growing like a cancer. And it came to a forefront when everyone in all sorts of various mega churches and all this decided to use the church as a method to push their politics, as a vehicle to push their politics, to make political changes to the way things run, and to try at least to wed Christianity to whatever their political ideological stuff was. Okay. Now, this isn't to say that it's necessarily wrong to opine on a topic of the day, right? Like abortion or whatever, the USAID, right? Charity work, things like that. Like, I think it's perfectly fine to go up and to opine on these things and to look at the teachings of God and the teachings of the gospel and the scriptures and see what they have to say. But when you start idolizing politicians, as many did, right? And I don't have a clip for you right now. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare it for it. But there's clips of people like singing praises to Trump in the mega churches, like painting pictures of him next to Jesus Christ and things like that, and trying to wed these things together as if they are synonymous, to basically piggyback on people's positive feelings towards Christianity and towards Christ, and try to piggyback and to parasite that in order to help their own political star to rise. It's gross and it's disgusting and it's anti-scriptural. It's anti-biblical. It's not something you should be doing. And it's a perversion, if you will. But this trailer is the perfect example of what these people are and who these people are. It's a perfect example of what they stand for. It's a perfect example of what they want. It's not a big movement, thank God, but it is a problem, and it is something that they have people in positions of influence and power within this administration that are leading to really bad decisions and really bad outcomes. Look, for example, at the comments about the toxic empathy and the feminization of Christianity and things like that, and to tie this idea of caring for people and caring for other people as something to be mocked, as something to be avoided, as something that is toxic, as something that is terrible. I just want to put in perspective, and I don't usually do this, but I think this is worth doing, the words of Christ in Matthew. In Matthew 22, he says this. He says, Jesus said to him, he was asked, what's the great commandment in the law, right? What is the greatest commandment in the law? This is what he was asked. And he answered, he says, Jesus said unto him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. That's true. If you are a Christian, that is the foundation of Christianity. According to Christ, that is the foundation. That is the two pillars upon which everything else exists and rests. Every single law, every single prophet, every single verse, every single teaching, every single doctrine is held up and hangs upon these two pins, these two pillars, this foundation, okay? And Christian nationalists and others, right, other bad actors, have tried so hard to poison the second pillar here, to make it anathema, to make it and to separate their version of Christianity so far from this, right? To try to make people equate Christianity with aversion to this, okay? This idea of loving your neighbor as yourself. That requires empathy. You cannot be empathetic, or you cannot love your neighbor if you don't have empathy. There are other versions, or other verses, I should say, where they talk about, if you give your body to be burned for the poor, if you give everything away, it doesn't matter if you don't have charity, if you don't love the people, right? If you don't have this quality, okay? Again, everything, and this is not my words, this is Christ's words, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. And I'm sorry, I don't mean this to be like Bible session, right? But I do want to talk about it a little bit, right? Because it bothers me. I'm going to be real. It bothers me. It makes me upset. I think Christianity is a powerful force for good. But the way it's practiced today by so-called Christians is not good. They have become apostates. They have fallen, right? They do not worship the God of Isaac, Abraham, Jacob, right? They do not worship the God of the Old Testament and the New. They worship something else. And how do I know? You know them by their fruits. You know them because what they practice and what they preach is fundamentally anathema to the words of Christ himself. And no one's perfect. And God knows I'm not. God knows I'm not. Okay? I am a sinner. I am a hypocrite. I have sinned, okay, and fallen short. Okay? I'm not suggesting that I have not. But there is a fundamental difference here between someone saying, you know what, sometimes I make mistakes, but this is what you should do, versus someone saying, no, you shouldn't love anyone besides yourself and your family. Everyone outside of your country, fuck them. America first, motherfuckers. That's the Christian way. No, it's not. It's fundamentally opposite of the Christian way. $5 from Sarcastic Warlock to say, the co-opting you're describing is what Andrew Wilson literally admitted to in the space with Ferryman. Christianity is only a platform for his political agenda. Probably. Oh, did you guys see friend of the stream, okay? You guys know Charlie. You know Charlie. She's been on my show a few times. We've done panels together, and she's co-hosted call-ins and things like that. You guys know who she is, right? She actually went on the Whatever podcast with Andrew Wilson. Okay? So, I'm going to show you the clip. And I want to be clear. Yeah, Enemy Charlie. No, Mike. That's who it is. I want to be clear. I don't think she should have done this. Okay? I don't think it was very moral that she did this. But it was effective. And I want to separate morality from effectiveness here. I don't think you should bring people's personal stuff into things. Okay, I don't think you should bring people's family into things. I think you should avoid that. It's not something I would do. It's not something I condone. But let's watch the clip. And I think it's important to look at his reaction and to kind of give context. Because, again, Andrew Wilson will do this constantly, where he will mock, belittle, deride, try to make people look into like fools, and basically, do you know the debate we had? Like, he put a clip up saying that I like to like have sex, like gay sex or something. I don't know. I didn't watch a clip. It was really retarded. But out of all the 3 hours, the 4 hours of conversation we had, this is the clip he puts up on his channel, right? After not having the actual debate up for free on his channel, right? Putting it behind a paywall, I believe. I don't know. He might have even deleted it. I'm not sure. But yeah, he put up this clip of, I don't know. It doesn't. It was really weird. He's kind of a little gay. But hey, I don't judge, okay? Anyway, so keep that in mind in the context of what we're going to watch here, because I think it's important. Do do do. Do 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 do. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Well, I'll try to rephrase this. I'm gonna reframe, and I'm just gonna be totally honest with you. I will never be able to convince you of my worldview.
You won't.
I know. But the reason is not because I'm not a great orator or I don't make good points.
He's not a great orator. He doesn't make good points.
Or I haven't said things which should be compelling to a person.
He might have done that. I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched a little. Okay? And I watched this clip.
But Charlie, I just think honestly you're too fucking stupid to understand them.
So here he goes, belittling her, right? Calling her, and I quote, too fucking stupid to understand. Okay?
So Andrew, can I sell you on my worldview?
Yes.
Your wife has 3 baby daddies and has been married twice before.
And you
you
lick sniz.
Under your religion.
You lick sniz.
What does that
You're
mean?
a fucking dyke. Don't talk shit about my wife, you stupid bitch. Shut your fucking mouth. Shut your stupid bitch mouth.
Your wife with the 3 baby
What did I
daddies?
just say? Dyke?
Your wife with the 3 baby daddies?
I'm sorry, Dyke. Is she morally inconsequential in comparison to your ditch licking?
Do the men that you try to...
Do the women that you try
show
to...
your hatred against...
Do the women that you try
convince
to...
them that they shouldn't...
You know, Charlie, did I
pursue
bring...
women? Do they know
Charlie,
that
did
your
I bring
wife
your
is 5
family...
years older?
Did I bring any of your
You
family
called me
into
fucking
anything?
stupid.
Did I
You
say
called
anything
me
about
fucking
your
stupid.
family being stupid, Charlie?
You could.
It's
You could
because
go
I'm
for it.
better than you, Charlie.
No, it's because you're embarrassed and you know that the traditional values that you try to sell people on are bullshit because
Let's
you
go
are not
through
a
it.
traditional man.
Chuck, let's go through it.
You are not a traditional man.
Let's go through it, Chuck.
Damn. This is the clip of the. I think they talked for like 5 hours, something like that. This is the clip that everyone, and I mean everyone, is sharing around. This is what has gotten millions, and I don't exaggerate, millions of views. Okay, none of the rest. She could have been destroyed entirely, right, on Rhetoric and Logic at the in the other 6 hours. I don't know, right? But no one cares about that when you get exposed as a hypocrite. And to be clear, Charlie initially was trying to make a point about how her worldview of feminism would not denigrate, put down, or otherwise insult his wife. And in fact, the fact that he is able to have this relationship, right, and to care for the children who are not his own, is something that feminism would celebrate and allow him to do. Whereas his worldview would absolutely not. And many on his side would decry him for this. And ironically, one of the reasons that this clip is so effective is because many people who otherwise would be a Crucibleite or an Andrew Wilsonite or whatever would judge him harshly for this. they're doing it in the comments and things like that. They calling him a simp, right? All these things, emasculated, effeminate, etc., 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 right? And unfortunately saying all sorts of horrible shit about his wife too. And again, I want to separate morality and effectiveness. Do I think people should bring up the family even if it's very effective? No, I don't think you should. I think you don't. There are just lines you don't cross, in my opinion, right? And there is an answer to this, frankly. If he was good at debating, he would have been able to have a very effective retort, but he's not. He's all about, there's no substance there. It's all showmanship. He doesn't actually have a good grasp of how to actually have a debate or have a conversation. He can only yell, scream, flip out like he did here, okay? The answer, if someone comes at you, like Charlie does, is to say, actually, no. You say this, but feminism doesn't celebrate that or even, right, allow it to happen, but Christianity does. In fact, what I'm doing is again, my worldview, you say it's evil, it's not, because you would say it doesn't allow it. Here I am showing it does. My wife, who I love and care for 20 plus years, who has had other children, I'm raising them as my own because I love my wife, I care about her, I believe in forgiveness, I believe in redemption. These are things that we not only preach, but we practice, and here's the proof of it. Perfect retort. Wouldn't get mad. Charlie looks bad in that case for bringing up. All good, right? But no, he just calls her a bunch of homophobic slurs and freaks out because he sucks at this. But yeah. Certus AT says, how is stating facts about his wife in a non-derogatory way not fair game when he's advertising a worldview that's contradictory to his own personal life? I just don't think that children and wives and families are ever fair game unless and until they themselves get involved. And to be clear, Andrew Wilson's wife did later call in the show. At that point, I think it's okay, right? When she's entering the sphere and the arena, then yes, I think that you can absolutely take shots, if you will. But I just don't think it was it's not the way I would have done it. Okay. $2 from Gelatinous Rube says Charlie W's in the chat. She does not look bad. Well, yeah, in comparison, because he looked far, far worse. At least in this clip, right? But yeah, the proper retort to that is like, well, actually, you just misunderstand my what I'm preaching and what I'm practicing. I don't denigrate women. In fact, I respect them a lot. And even if they have had children with other fathers, I think that, again, she's been faithful to me for 20 plus years. I love my children. They are mine. We've adopted them, etc. That just disarms it perfectly, right? He didn't do that, though, because he's bad at what he does. Yeah. And yeah, people like and people in my chat are like, oh, he just got what he deserved because he does it too. Yes, he does this all the time, but that doesn't mean we act like him, okay? 200 bits from Zephyrhash to say, remember, when Andrew Wilson talked shit about Dillahunty's wife when the debate was about atheism, MAGA moron triggered. Please read, I'm traveling and can't send super chats. Well, thank you for the 200 bits. Sorry you're traveling and you can't send me money, but I do appreciate the bits. Yeah, like I said, obviously he's going to do this because he has no fucking morals, or at least his morals are a sham. And he will absolutely do it and complain and cry and freak out when it happens to him. But that doesn't, again, this is going to be part of Thursday's debate, right? Like, that doesn't mean you engage in the same behaviors that your enemies do, okay? You just don't. It's a bad idea. But there it is. This is, again, just more evidence that they are not substantive. They're just showmen. They have They're whitened sepulchers, gang. Whitened sepulchers, $5 from Tesco Johnson to say an 8-ounce serving of Sunny D contains about 12 to 15 grams of sugar. Yes, it does. I need my sugar, gang. I'm trying to cut out soda. I don't know if you guys know that. I haven't drank soda on stream in a while. Try to cut it out. But, yeah. I just think that there is so much going on right now that deserves discussing. So I wanna also show you something else that happened with regards to Christian nationalists and kind of like the effectiveness of how to deal with them by mocking them. Give me a second. Let me find it. Had it here. Where did it go? Oh my God. Why am I such a dummy? I had it. And then it went away because I kept clicking on things. Here we go. Here we go. Here it is. Okay. I think this is worth watching.
Yes, let me know when you have the angle right. Yes, I want to look as contemplative and serious as possible. Make sure the lighting's kind of down so I look moody and serious, like a philosopher sitting in an armchair, but like Matt Walsh as a philosopher sitting in an armchair. No, I'm not trying to look like Matt Walsh. Just make sure the angle and the lighting and everything makes me look as much like Matt Walsh as possible. Do you like my beard?
I can't turn it up. That's as high as it goes.
No, I didn't copy Matt Walsh's beard. I just asked if you liked my... Go back to the kitchen. Anyway, Christian nationalism is based. It goes hard. But what is stopping Christian nationalism from going as hard as we would like it to? Well, Christians, they're gay. They are gay. Christians are gay and fake. Fake and gay. Gay and fake, to be more precise. To be more precise. Just pick whichever sounds better in post. No, I'm not putting on an accent. This is the way that I talk. Go make...
I think it's funny, gang. Maybe you guys don't, but I think it's hilarious. It just captures how crazy these people are. And it's funny because one of their big, let me find it. Okay. Damn. One of their biggest defenders here. This is a guy who called for the repeal of the 19th, okay? This is Dale Partridge. Replies to it. Obviously not mad. Please don't tell people that he's mad because he's super not mad, gang. Says, woman mocks Christian nationalists for saying that much of American Christianity is fake and gay while acting fake and gay. Gay is a perversion of the sexes. She's arguing with men online. She's acting like a man. That's T-slur-like gay stuff. Where's your husband? Why is he not battling online? I can't imagine my wife on the internet mocking men. If a theological battle needs fighting against men, a woman ought to send her husband or father. These people, gang. So first of all, Mr. Partridge. Okay, can I call you that, Mr. Partridge? Is that fine? Right. Is that what you prefer, Mr. Partridge? In a pear tree? I don't know. Tell you what. If she needed backup from a man, she'd get backup from a man. But she's doing just fine. She's doing fine all on her own. Kind of just taking you to task and making fun of you. And I think a semi-juvenile but kind of funny way. I don't know. Like, if your whole worldview, if your whole ideology can't beat a woman, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, like, he ain't going anywhere. $5 from Ryan says, Charlie also said if Rachel aborted her kid, she would be less promiscuous. Do you agree with that? No, I don't agree with that. I already disagreed with her bringing up all these things, right? But like I said, it does not matter. And okay, I want you guys to be to really internalize this. Especially in online settings. Whether you win or lose a debate does not actually matter. What matters is what clip goes viral and if it makes you look good or if it makes you look bad. You can have a perfect debate where you destroy them with facts and logic, where you, again, win on all the premises. Every single of your arguments is airtight. You confound them. You confuse them. You run circles around them. But if you get to be made to look bad once and that gets clipped and gets millions of views, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. You lost. And I want that to be very clear to all of you, right? It's funny to see what people like when they watch something live, okay, and they have a substantively different idea of what happened during that debate than people who watch clips or watch the commentary afterwards, right? And I've seen it several times where I will host a debate and the people live, okay, that are watching it as it goes, have one impression. And they tell me their impression, the chatters chat their impressions, all these things. And I see the impressions and it's one way. And then a clip goes semi-viral or something, or a lot of people cover it. And the impression is just entirely different about who did well, what arguments were sound, what were not. It's just the nature of these events. And you just have to keep that in mind when you go on there. Mega Airhead says, if you're making an argument that the world needs to work a certain way and somebody shows you that you don't even live that way with a personal attack, how is that not the correct strategy? Again, I want to separate morality from effectiveness. Well, let me ask you this, Mega Airhead. Do you think you can do something that is very effective, would work? Okay, it would be you would get your political will done. Everything you wanted would be accomplished, and yet you don't do that because doing that would be wrong, would be immoral. Okay, can you imagine a thing, right, that might fall under that umbrella? And thank you, 10 Wick TV gift memberships from AKA Batozai. Thank you. Make sure, gang, if you're in chat and you just got a membership, if you were one of the lucky lottery winners, make sure to think to give AKA Batozai your thanks, okay? Yes, Mega Airhead, if you just wanted free healthcare for all, it's a fine goal to have, right? A political goal, and you decided, well, I'm going to enact a dictatorship, overthrow Congress, dismiss the Supreme Court, and I don't care what people want, I'm going to give it to them. That would be immoral. You shouldn't do that, right? A little bit of a hyperbolic example, a little bit of an extreme example, but I think it illustrates the point. To me, I think that families are off limits in these things, right? If you're sitting in front of me, I'm free to call you retarded, insult you, what have I, okay? What I'm not free to do is to bring your kids into it or to bring your family into it. Now, this gets dicey if they bring their kids up or their family up. There are certain instances, like if someone keeps bringing their family up as a shield to criticism, then I think, okay, I mean, you're the one that inserted it into this conversation. But if they don't do that, I don't think it's moral to bring them in. Does that make sense? Speedy Lee says, but nobody is following these rules, so why have them? I don't base my morality based on what other people do. Okay? It's not, I don't only hold to my morals when other people hold to my morals. That's not how I operate. I don't only do what is right if other people also are doing what is right. That's just not how I am. I don't know. AKA Batozai says, you can just have it as a principle to not attack a person's children or wife. Yeah, frankly. Okala says, she was using Rachel as an example of promiscuity. Look, I get what she was trying to do, and I think that if she had been allowed to finish, I don't think it would have been like the worst thing in the world. She wasn't directly attacking her. She was simply using it as an example. Now it became a little bit of an attack later on during the exchange, right? When he flipped out and things like that. But that is what it is. So like I said, it's not the biggest sin in the world. But it's not something we should do. AKA Batozai says, someone made a point that a wife can be a valid target because they chose to marry the person, but I say no go on children. I don't think either are really okay. Like in the normal course of things, as a general rule. Ryan says, you have zero framework here. What do you mean? Well, set up the framework for me. And once again, I think we're illustrating a point here. None of the framework matters, Ryan, because a clip got millions of views of someone freaking out after calling someone stupid, right? And then the person attacks them back, they flip out, and this other person holds frame. That's the clip. None of the other framework around it matters when it comes to these things. Not in any real sense. Once again, people who watch an event live will often what's the right word here? They will often view an event in a very different light than the people who see commentary and clips of it afterwards. Ryan says, so if you get someone to flip out during a debate, you win. If you clip it and it goes viral, you can, yes. Does that mean you won the debate? No, but your goal isn't to win the debate. Your goal is to get clout, make the other person look bad, destroy their reputation. You can have all sorts of other goals. Like people remember, a lot of the goal here isn't to win the debate. The win to debate is the tool to get you to the goal. Okay? It's not necessary. It's good and it feels good, right? But it's not necessary. You can lose every debate and still be massively successful. Look at Tim Pool, okay? I see him get trounced on his own show constantly by a lot of his guests. Erudite, Soy Pill, I did it. Pisco did it. I've seen other various people do it. He doesn't really come off good, but again, he's taking clips. He has a clip farmer that does this, and they go and they take clips of the thing. Then he promotes his channel. They try to spin things. It's a business. It's a way of doing things. Ryan says, so naturally Andrew wins overall because he's more popular than Charlie then, right? Well, in this exchange, did he become more popular or less popular because of these clips? And did Charlie become more popular or less popular because of these clips? He is successfully, right, gotten large following. You can't take that away from Andrew Wilson, right? What he does is he follows a formula that works, okay? The problem here is that in this case, that same formula that he does was used against him. and in a very effective way. Again, millions of views where he looks like he's flipping out. And so whatever he said before or whatever he says after doesn't matter. This is just real politic, okay? This is just the real politic of this situation. Do you disagree? Again, whether it's good, whether it's bad, I'm not making a judgment on here. I'm simply showing and showcasing how it works. I'm not making a moral, like, this is good or this is bad. I'm just saying, this is the game. This is what is happening, okay? This is what is being done, and this is why it's effective. Yes, Ryan, literally yes. If you can make clips go viral, even out of context clips, and that shapes people's perception of the event, you win. Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. Kind of blackpilling a little bit, huh? You think, oh, these are titans of reason and logic. No. That's not how this works. Now, that said, it is noticeable when people consistently win debates. And it's noticeable when they consistently lose debates. Okay? And there are many people, well, I won't say many. There are a few people who are not big at all. They have very little following. Okay? You probably haven't heard of them. But whenever I see them on, oh, I know they're going to make a great argument. And I know that they're going to be a very tough opponent. I'll give you an example from the right and from someone who's a different brand of right, but I would consider them left, but they don't consider themselves left. Lactoid. Lactoid, no shade on the guy. He's got like 10 viewers. And I love Lactoid. Lactoid's a buddy, right? He makes great arguments. He's a very strong debater. He's a very strong opponent. Okay, he's wrong a lot. He doesn't win all the time, but he consistently makes decent arguments. Okay, he's got 10 viewers. No one gives a shit because he doesn't promote his stuff. It doesn't go anywhere, right? Then look at Eucharist. You guys know Eucharist? Philip? He's a professor. Had some awesome, huge guests that he's appeared with in live events and things like that. He's got less following than I do. Okay, he's got very low amounts of following, but he makes great arguments. He's well reasoned. He's an honest actor. Very powerful debater. It would be very hard for me to go against Eucharist. Okay, Eucharist is a tough guy. Rhetorically. No one knows his name. No one knows who he is hardly. There's few people who do, the people who respect the debate things. Like, if these people, Lactoid, Eucharist, and hell, even me, if we had clip farmers that would go in, take the most interesting viral moments of each debate and spin it to make us look great and the other person look bad, our following would triple, double, quadruple, 10 times, 100 times, etc. That's how this works. Okay? Me, I don't have a great eye for virality. That's my downfall here. I don't have a great eye for what makes things go viral. I don't. I've gone viral a few times. I've had tweets with over 100,000 likes, right? I've had clips go on live stream fails and blow up from various things, but none of my content, to be clear, but none of them are stuff that I knew would go viral or I like arranged it to go viral. But there's like a formula that people use and people get good at. That's how it is. No comment. But yeah, Ryan says, did Andrew hurt you a lot previously? Sounds like you have a lot of pent-up aggression. I don't like Andrew Wilson. I think he's a liar, and I think he's a fraud. Did he hurt me? No. Why? Like, you understand that I'm saying in this clip, he looks bad. And you also understand that I'm also saying Charlie should not have brought his family into it. These are my statements. $10 from a sarcastic warlock to say Christian nationalism must end. This is the friend-enemy distinction. Best to have Christians fight each other by exposing their fruits to each other. Truly, all is fair in love and war. So the friend-enemy distinction, gang. I don't subscribe to it. Oh, give me a second. Sorry, my phone decided to send me all of my notifications all at once. And it kind of sucks. Give me a second. You guys want to see the thumbnail for Thursday's debate? Okay, I'll show you guys a thumbnail real quick from Thursday's debate that I just got made up. It's gonna be should MAGA should we have Nuremberg trials for MAGA afterwards? I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? Yeah, Alishness drew this for me. Thank you, Al. Appreciate this. It looks really good. Okay, now I gotta tweet it out. Yeah, really great job. Hey, multiculturalist James, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show. Ryan says, how much of that debate did you watch outside the clip you played? Not very much of it, like I said. And like I said, I don't think that it matters. I think that, again, she could have gotten destroyed in all the rest of the debate. It does not matter because no one watches all the rest of the debate. The amount of people who watch the actual debate from start to finish are going to be a minuscule portion of the viewers who are going to see the viral clips from that debate. This is why people who say, oh, Jimmy Kimmel and these other late night talk shows, they don't have very high live viewership. And yet they still make money. How? Right? Like the Bill Maher's in Real Time and things like that. Is because the formula doesn't really, they don't monetize the live viewership as much. What they rely on is the clips, right? So you'll have maybe, I'm just going to make up numbers here, like 100,000 people will watch the show itself, okay? It'll get 100,000 views. Start to finish, they'll watch the show. And most of those viewers won't watch all of it, right? They'll only watch like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, right? Depending how long it is. But very few will go from start to finish. 1 million people will see the clip that goes viral. Maybe 10 million, okay? The number who watch the short bite-sized segment are going to be far, far more than the people who watch the whole thing. I don't know how you can say that this is wrong. Like, this is just observable reality. I'm exposing the secrets of the debate world or of internet culture. This is a call-in show, and I have people waiting to call in, so I'm gonna take their calls. Give me a second. Let me save this. Hello. You're live. Give me a second.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, love you.
Whoa. Bro,
Hey.
you're live. You're live. You're live. You're live.
Yeah. I was talking to my girlfriend. I'm sorry. I was on the phone with her also.
Okay, if she wants to talk to us too, she can.
No, she's no. Yo, what's up? How have things been?
Oh, you know, living life, getting things done.
That's good. What'd you talk about today?
Did you not watch the show?
I just got inside.
So you've been watching, waiting in my backstage, waiting to call in, but you don't know what we're talking about, what we're discussing. You don't know the topic.
I saw your announcement, and you were like, "We're going to talk about Epstein things," and I was actually going to ask you about. You told me. You told me that you might not be able to find MAGA that would talk about this.
To defend it, to be clear.
To defend it, yeah. Is that like how do you feel about that? Like, what are your feelings around the fact that like you can't that these people like voted for this guy and this thing happens, and for many of them they still support him, but they won't defend this like really awful thing that's like coming out about him.
Well, what's your question? What I think about it? Like, what do
you think about that?
Like, what do I think about the? So, what do I think of? These are two different questions, and I have two different answers for you because the question of what do I think about this phenomenon versus what do I think about the people who are engaging in this behavior.
Let's do phenomenon. I don't want you to like talking about anybody specific.
Sure. So I would be talking about. Never mind. The phenomenon I think is distressingly common. We have this parasociality when it comes to politicians and a whole host of other people, right? Streamers, etc., where we have tied in some way our identity to our politics. And our politics have been tied to a representative of those politics. And you can see this in the case of Trump very clearly, right? People have tied their political ideology to a single man, okay? Not everyone, obviously. I'm not talking about every single MAGA out there, okay? But there are a large subset who absolutely have decided that Trump is their guy. And whenever anyone attacks Trump, they feel like they are being attacked. And whenever anyone praises Trump, they feel like they are being praised. Trump has expertly used this fact, this phenomenon, to great political effect, right? It's really helped him personally. This is why many people have very seemingly contradictory views when it comes to the Epstein files. Before they were watching the Epstein files, and Trump was like, yeah, I'm going to release the Epstein files. And they praised him for it. And they said, yes, the Epstein files are the biggest problem today. This is who I'm voting for, etc. When Trump got into power and it became clear that he was going to try to block the Epstein files, these people, on a dime, changed their tune. It's like, well, see, the Epstein file is just a big nothing burger. I don't know why everyone's trying to politicize this right now. I don't know why we're trying to make this a big deal. The Epstein files were already released. It's fine, right? And then when it became clear that Trump wasn't going to be able to stop the release of the Epstein files, because not every Republican is like that, right? And Trump was like, yeah, we've successfully scrubbed all the Republicans' names out of this. You can go ahead and release it now. Suddenly, these same people, right, and we're talking about the same people who've said both things so far, turn on a dime again and start talking about, look how transparent Trump is being. Look, the Epstein files, I've always wanted them released. And they'll do this without shame, right, because they're tied themselves parasocially to a politician, and their fortunes rise and fall with the politician, because if you attack the politician, or if the politician does badly, they do badly and they feel attacked. And if the politician succeeds or they are praised, they've succeeded and they praised. That's my thoughts. There you go.
Yeah. Do you notice well, do you, first of all, when you say that, do you have specific people in mind? You don't have to like name names. I'm just wondering if you like.
I had people I was going to show later. On the show, right? I had tweets and stuff. Let me get them up. Hold on, and we can look at them. This here's a good one. Give me a second. I'll share my screen. Let me make it bigger. So this person. Okay, I want to make it clear. This is the 4th time they posted this and deleted it because it keeps getting community noted. Like it's the exact same post. This is time number 4, because people have said, well, we'll get to it, right? But this is what they say. They said some use the Epstein files to smear President of the United States instead of bringing justice to the victims, which, to be honest, is super gross. I look forward to the continued investigations into this with GOP oversight. They deserve justice. And she quotes tweets Donald Trump's schizo rant here. Okay, but keep in mind. This is the 4th time that they've done this, because the community note is this person opposed the Epstein file being released before Trump said it was okay to release.
Oh, wow. Isn't it like really telling that like releasing
This is
the
a sitting,
file...
just to be quick, this is a sitting representative. This is from Florida 13th District of a congresswoman. Just to be clear who this is.
But isn't it kind of telling that like just releasing the files is going to be like a negative on Trump? Like what? Like just that right there is like an admission of something.
Look, at this point, let's wait to see. It's getting released, or at least the after he had 1,000 FBI agents scrub it, we're gonna get something. I'm withholding judgment until it gets released. Now, I think that there's been some things that have been nothing burgers, and I think there's been things that have been kind of damning. I think that the most damning release so far in all of this has been the birthday letter from Trump to Epstein, where he talks about how they both have secrets and about enigmas and things like that. Is pretty Lolita style shit. Okay, it was really, really damning. I think the other damning thing is how hard he has worked to prevent this coming out. Again, it suggests that either he or someone he actually cares about is going to be severely implicated by things that have got that were in there. Again, though, how that plays out, we'll have to see. $5 from Gelatinous Rube to say, call me brave. But I think it's good when MAGA doesn't defend Mossad's top guy. Deport Kash Patel.
Well, the thing is that they don't defend him, but they'll freaking fucking vote for him. Like they'll vote for him and they'll support everything else about him. Like they'll vote. They'll still say that he was the lesser of two evils when it comes to Kamala Harris versus Trump. But also, there's another thing is that like the whole them going through the files and looking for every instance of when Trump was mentioned, that whole thing, that was pretty sus in my opinion.
Yep. No, the whole thing is pretty sus.
Heather Cox, do you know who Heather Cox Richardson is?
The name sounds familiar. Remind me.
She does a Substack. She's a historian. She's
I've
got a
read some
really
of her
good
work.
YouTube video. She puts out YouTube videos. They're really good. She's got a theory that I kind of, if I had to put my money on what was going to come out, if anything was going to come out, I think I would put my money on this. And it's that Trump probably wasn't doing like any kitty diddling stuff. He was probably profiting from it in some way with Epstein.
Again, we'll wait and we'll see, right? Like, there's something in it that he doesn't want out. That's all that I can say for any kind of certainty. Is there something in the Trump files, or that was in the Trump files, that he did not want people to see? What that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for calling in. I'm gonna get to a few more people. But if anyone in the audience here would like to defend Trump's handling of the MAGA, Trump's handling of the Epstein files, a little Freudian slip there, and you want to debate liberal cluck on this, please reach out. I would love to host that debate.
Oh, absolutely. I'll get all of the research out for that one.
Yeah. But I think it's probably a positive sign that I can't really find people that would defend Trump's handling of the Epstein files.
Sure, it's so. Actually, I got a question. Can I ask you another question?
One more quickly, then I got to go to other people.
Okay, let's say hypothetical world. We live in a hypothetical world where you got two candidates you get to choose from. You got candidate A, which you absolutely know was in the Epstein files in the worst kind of way, but he's got all of Joe Biden's policies, and you know that that's Joe Biden's policies is what he's going to implement. Or you got candidate B, who was not in the Epstein files. We know this for a fact. He had nothing to do with Epstein, but he's going to do what Trump is currently doing to America. Which one would you choose?
I wouldn't vote in that case.
You wouldn't vote? Okay.
I wouldn't vote in that case. I would abstain. There's moral lines I have, and kiddly diddling. If you fuck children, you do not get my vote.
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
gang.
a reasonable answer, and I wish more MAGA would think that way.
Okay.
Anyways,
bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Is that a brave stance, gang? I don't know. It's where me and Soy Pill butt heads. To be clear, I don't know if you saw me and Soy Pill's debate, where he said that he would personally bring children to Newsom if it meant beating Trump. But crazy things. Hello, you're live. Hello, you're live.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, what's up, brother?
Hey, I have a few topics or thoughts to discuss. I'm going to be a little scattered. If you want me to stop, we can stop. I guess I want to start out by just this sort of debate tactic that you were discussing on how screens get shared or clips get shared and people come out with completely different opinions.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think one thing that we fail to mention is that you can pretty much go on the same stream being broadcast on different channels, and you can have people coming out with different outlooks while it's live. Which I think is
yes, the community you're in is going to inform how things are viewed, because in that case, you're not just watching the event, you're watching the chat, and the chat will influence your perception of the event. Yes, that's true. You're correct.
Yeah, you just thought I'd bring that up because I don't think it's as simple as, oh, well, we can just edit out the parts where that make me look good and gain following. It's that there is an active system, like community system, that is encouraging my thoughts, even though I might be performing poorly in the debate, like my community would be blinded to it.
Well, yeah, that's obviously true. There are people who will. We talked about parasociality, right, with politicians. It happens with streamers too, where your guy can't ever, like, let's use Hassan as an example. Okay? People will look at everything Hassan does, and they will make every excuse in the book for every bad behavior that he participates in. The dog collar gate, the little red book stuff, all that, right? And they will make every excuse in their book because they have parasocially hitched their wagon to his star, okay, to Hassan. So nothing he does, if he gets denigrated, they feel like they get denigrated. And if he gets praised, they feel like they get praised. And they behave accordingly. So yes, I agree with you that there are these parasocial followings. Luckily, or unluckily, depending on how you look at it, I don't really have many Wick simps, right? You guys all come in to argue with me, which I like.
Well, you don't really debate as much as host debates.
True.
So it's kind of difficult to
True.
find out when you're taking sides.
No, that's true.
If you're not an active participant.
Yeah, but no, that's a good point. Thank you for making it, Mr. Zephyr.
So I guess to wrap up the first topic, what would be a change you would like to see in like an online debate format that kind of mitigates this kind of parasociality? Because I
Oh,
think
that's a tough one.
selecting a winner then becomes important,
Oh,
like
what?
actually selecting a winner.
I don't know if that does matter. I've seen people try to do that before. The Hippy Dippy tried to do this. Other venues have tried to do this. Like, I know that there's some more collegiate debate, serious debate scenes where they actually have the audience vote on who won and who didn't, right? And then they have a council that votes on who won and who didn't. Now that's none of that's all fake and gay. None of that matters, right? It doesn't really change the dynamics at play in any meaningful way.
Right.
I
I
just
get
don't know. I don't know the solution.
yeah, sure, like
Is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how to fix this because I think it's a problem with human nature. And how do you fix human nature? I think that the biggest combat or the biggest pushback that we can give to this is to call out this behavior so people recognize it, right? And they can observe it, right? When they recognize and realize what is happening, they can perhaps make some changes. But it has to be on a kind of like a personal level. I don't think there's a systemic way to solve it.
Sure. Yeah, it's unfortunate that we, for anything like we genuinely would have to reach out to people on a personal level um, for all of this. Like it's online debates and sort of clips actually do very little to change people's mind because because algorithms or people themselves select the content that they want to see. So if anything, it reinforces their point of view,
Pretty much.
despite however the debate's going. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the first thing I wanted to bring up. The second thing I wanted to bring up, because since Christian nationalism is one of the topics that you're discussing today, is the sort of the numbers. Or actually, there aren't many numbers that are coming out, but the outlets that are saying the rise of Groyperism in Gen Z men and how it's shifting from MAGA to America First. Would you be willing to discuss that right
Yeah,
now?
I
Or
mean, go. What are your thoughts?
Well, I guess it's a little bit scary to me because initially I did think that okay, Nick Fuentes has like a little online following, but the news that has been coming out over the past few months of Groypers having quote unquote infiltrated the Republican Party, like straight up displaying Nazi symbology or Groyper symbology, people like a lot of sort of America First people or Groypers being done with MAGA. You know, like most of the people who are angry with Trump are Groypers. They aren't Republicans who now see the hypocrisy of Trump. They see the hypocrisy of Trump, but that's because Trump isn't going more extreme on the deportations and immigration stuff and things like that. Most Republicans who are turned off against Trump right now are far right and not the moderate Republicans. I do believe that maybe not in 2032, 2028, 2036. It'd probably take like 20 to 30 years, but there is an active, like an actual significant chance that this is a dormant movement that would rise up again in the 2050s
Well,
when
it's
Democrats or liberals think that politics is a little bit moderated right now. And then all of a sudden, Nicolas J. Fuentes comes out as as a president elect and sweep the election because everybody's just thinks that it will never happen.
well
The same way Trump got elected in 20.
one of the things that you have to remember is that your freedoms, your the privileges that you have as an American, right, or as someone who lives in a free country in the world, they are not guaranteed to you. You have to, each generation has to fight this same fight, okay? They have to fight this same struggle against extremism. We saw it in the 60s. We saw it in the 30s and the 40s, right? We see it now And it comes in different forms and manifests in different ways. But there is this pernicious, persistent idea out there that democracy is is not working, okay? Because the suffering exists. And because suffering exists, it must mean that democracy, because suffering exists in a democracy, democracy doesn't work. That's the idea, that's the argument, right? But it's a fallacious argument. Suffering exists in every ideology, under every sort of system of governance, even no governance, right? No system of governance, complete anarchy. There will still be suffering. And the argument that liberals need to win on again and again and again, because remember, liberalism itself is a relatively new concept in history, right? It's not something that has existed very much at all throughout most of the history of the world. We just have to, again, remind people that most of your freedoms, the things that you value, come because liberalism has fought for them and protects them in ways both great and small, in ways both visible and very invisible. And I think that it's something that we're going to continuously have to fight. So the rise of Groyperism or whatever other ism comes to challenge the liberal world order, they're going to keep coming. And it is not guaranteed that we win these fights. That's why we have to keep fighting. That's why we have to keep arguments, right? We have to keep having these discussions to sharpen our arguments, right? And we have to convince, right? We have to convince people that we have the better solutions than the Groypers. Now, do I think that Nick Fuentes himself has like this huge movement? Brother, it's bigger than you think, because it's not about numbers. It's about where do people who follow me reside in the political structure. And Nick Fuentes has, in a very purposeful move, put many of his followers in positions of influence in the GOP. And this is why they're having the struggles they're having today.
So I guess a couple things. First thing I would like to say to back up your point on that Groyperism is bigger than what we think it is, even right now.
Yes.
Is that I would encourage you and your viewers to go on Twitter, to go on these sort of clip channels and try and look at comments that go, I am tired of Trump. This is not what I wanted. The next vote I will ever give will be for Nick Fuentes. So I'm assuming, again, I don't watch his content and never want to, never will, is that Nick Fuentes has probably made it clear that he intends to run for the presidency eventually, because people are actively saying that the next vote they will give is to Nick Fuentes.
I mean, you have people like J.D. Vance, who last year, he was comfortable criticizing the Groypers. Not anymore. There's been a substantive seismic shift on that side of the aisle, where a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, everyone was fine criticizing Nick Fuentes. But today he's protected by the influencers class in a way that he just wasn't before. And again, you have J.D. Vance scared to call him out today in a way that he wasn't scared to a year ago.
And honestly,
that does say something about the trajectory. Okay.
Right. And here's another troubling part, is that the only thing that is keeping most Republicans from supporting Nick Fuentes right now is his anti-Semitism. If he gives that up, or if the Republican Party shifts more right, that will no longer be a problem. That is the sort of linchpin right now that is separating Groypers from MAGA, or like moderate Republicans even.
Okay, well, thank you.
Once that changes...
Yeah. No, go finish your thought.
Once that changes, when people become more anti-Semitic in the Overton window, or if Nicholas J. Fuentes just somehow just stops talking about Israel all that much, yeah, he'll become far more popular overnight, pretty much. So
Will he do
yeah,
that?
that's
I
some
don't
boomer
know.
thought.
Um,
Not right now, but again, this is the thing that we as humans tend to think in short terms. Like we probably think about 2026, 2028, maybe 2032. People don't think about 2052, 2056. Those years will like that is when this movement, I believe, is more likely to take off and become like an actual threat
I
than
don't
it
think
is
he
in the
worked.
next decade or so.
I don't know. I think it's still like people forget that Nazism was a youth movement. It was
Yep.
done in
Yeah,
the
and when the youths get
colleges
older
amongst the youth,
and the
right?
boomers
Those
die
are
out,
the initial supporters, the people who were young. They felt they had nothing to lose. I don't think that, like, I don't think it's probably not Nick Fuentes who leads whatever version of the Groypers is there in 2056. He would be too old.
And sure, obviously there will be some changes in rhetoric. I don't think it'll be the same as it is right now because at the end of the day, I do think that like democracy will still be intact by then. So I do think he will have to change his narrative, but his ideology at the end of the day will likely stay as it is right now,
Who knows?
which is extremely destructive.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
My problem with okay, all right. If you're
No,
done,
sorry,
then
we
I'll
just
drop
got
out.
one more caller, and I want to make sure I
Okay.
get to them. Sorry, buddy.
All right.
I love you, man. Okay,
Right.
I'll see you later. Okay.
Love you too.
Platonically, gang. Don't get any ideas. Hello, you're live.
Hello, is my microphone working and everything?
You are audible. What do you got for us?
Good. I was actually in the like the soy pill video. I called in during
I
that for the
remember.
first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of wanted to talk about something that was sort of a continuation of that because, you
Go
know,
ahead.
earlier in the stream you showed that like whatever podcast clip where that woman, you know, sort of destroyed Andrew Wilson by bringing up
Enemy
his
Charlie. Yes, friend of the stream.
Yeah, and you know, you even though you said you thought it was effective, I noticed you
was.
said that you don't think people should be doing that. You think it was a bad thing to do. It's ill-advised. And I guess I
Yes.
wanted to talk about sort of the morality of ends justify the means because I'm assuming you can already, you know, gather from the debates I've had already, the one I've had already, is that that's sort of the
Your
angle
ends
I'm-
justify the means. If it's a good
Yeah.
end, then the means justify it. Or it justifies the
Yeah.
mean, I should say.
And
if
so
it's a good
I
end,
like I
then
understand.
whatever you need to do to get that end, okay.
Yeah, well, maybe not like in the like extreme version of that, although maybe I do. But in cases like this, because I understand the argument that can be made against, you know, what you and Soypill were arguing about how, you know, if you need to bring children to like Governor Newsom's version of Epstein Island, how that could maybe
You can
be
understand how that would be something you probably shouldn't do. You probably shouldn't bring little children to be to the Newsom rape island. That would be bad. Yeah.
Well, I at least think that the argument against doing that, even if more children are ultimately saved because of that, is at least a bit more understandable. But something like, you know, that Andrew Wilson whatever podcast thing, I can't really see why you wouldn't for how little the harm is, you know, just sort of like humiliating this guy and not even necessarily saying anything false or anything wrong because you know, I don't know the story behind this dude, but you know, if that is indeed true, then Andrew Wilson is being a gross hypocrite with everything he's doing. And you know, we talk a lot about vibes-based voting and vibes-based, you know, like political economies and stuff like that. That is how these sort of people lose power. I don't know if you know, but there was this red pill type dude a couple years ago, and he basically got outed as being a cuck. I'm not talking about Sneeko. There was this dude
No,
who, you know,
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but that kind of illustrates the point, right?
Yeah, but you know, the dude, like he used
he
to write
he
articles
he
and
wrote an
stuff,
article
and
in a magazine about how he loved when his girlfriend would go out, or his wife, I forget, would go out on dates with other guys and things like that. Yeah, it was cuckish. It
and
was
you know,
cuckish.
he
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, and he you know, in the article he tried to spin that as a manly thing to do, funnily enough. But like and that dude lost pretty much all of his power and legitimacy. Like, you know,
Sure.
do you ever hear anything about this dude since? No. And so I think that is a relatively, you know, attacking these people's like families or personal lives, if indeed it is something bad and is something, you know, hypocritical that reflects badly on them. I fail to see like how that is necessarily like that morally wrong when it does result in a fair amount of good.
So here's the thing. There's a couple angles we could go. I'll start with this way. Jack Murphy, thank you, audience, who knew who this guy's name was. I did not. I forgot it. But Jack Murphy, yes, he himself lacked influence and power, but the ideology that he pushed has only grown. Like, you may have felt good, right, canceling this guy or getting him, like, mocking him and things. And to be clear, I think that's okay to mock because he's the one that brought it up, right? I think it's different when you're the one writing about it and things like that. But you didn't actually accomplish anything. It didn't stop the movement. The movement's only grown. So when we have an incident like with Charlie here, and to be clear, on the scale of bad, right, or immoral, I think it's like a 2 out of like 100. It's not that bad, okay? It's not something that she should be like driven out for, okay? Or even thought that much less of for. But it is still, and I have to, I'll die on this hill, it is still wrong to do. And this is how big evils take place, when you justify little evils. Like, oh, we can do a little bit of evil because it'll bring about a good, a major good. I think it erodes our ability to combat evil. Does that make sense?
I mean, like,
because you can always excuse evil because we're going to do a greater good. And if you start practicing on the little stuff, it translates to bigger stuff.
So is what you're saying that essentially like no lesser of two evils argument is ever valid at all?
No, I think that there are situations where where a choice must be made and you have to. Like presidential elections are a good one. Do I think that if we had two people and one was 99% Hitler and the other one was 100% Hitler, because there's a binary choice here, right? Then maybe go with the 99% Hitler one,
but
or don't vote.
Just before,
but
like this, when you were talking to this other dude, I'm sorry, I started listening to the stream like in the middle, and I've only been listening to bits and pieces. But
go ahead.
Wasn't there a situation where, like, just in this last dude, didn't you say there was a scenario where like you just wouldn't vote if like the two candidates were like really bad in some way?
Give me 1 second. Say one more time. Repeat that. I'm sorry, I got distracted. My bad. I apologize.
No, you're good. Weren't you just making the argument like before? I forget what it was about, but like I think this other dude brought up like an example where like if two presidential candidates were significantly like bad enough, or if one was like there are
lines.
About,
there are lines where one person raped kids and the other didn't rape kids, and the one who didn't rape kids was like a Trump-like figure, like who would destroy the country. In that case, I would not vote because both of them have crossed the line, crossed the threshold for me, where I have to just not. Under no circumstances do they get my support. But in extreme, like you can give me a hypothetical where if you don't do this, everyone on Earth will die, and this thing is an evil thing. Then okay, yeah, sure. In order to spare literally everyone on Earth, I would do the evil thing. But it's a threshold, man. There's thresholds to this. And I don't think that under normal circumstances, like a debate on a podcast, that we have crossed the threshold of it being acceptable to do even little bad things. Now, keep in mind, I'm not perfect. I am a hypocrite in this myself on occasion. I, should practice what I preach more. But that is still my position.
Do you think what you're preaching is something that really like everyone could reasonably practice? and actually like fully do it, because I think your argument was going back to the other like soy pill debate a few days ago, was one of your main thrusts of your argument was that like, oh, if we, because that was about wishing death on people, it was, if we, empathy is a process, so if we're wishing death and wishing bad things on people or excusing bad things that happen to people, yeah, it will impede our ability to do this. But like logically that wouldn't only apply to death, right? That would apply to even just any bad thing or any amount of suffering happening at all.
But there are levels to this where we understand that it's wrong to cut someone off in traffic, but it's more wrong to purposely drive them off the road and drive them into a ditch and watch their car explode, right? Both are bad, but one is substantively more bad. So while yes, even I hope they step on a Lego is probably not something you should do, it is substantively less bad than, man, I hope he dies in a fire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but since your argument essentially seems to be sort of like, in this case, a slippery slope argument, because it's like, oh, even if, this bad thing happening to this person results in the world being a better place, your argument is, well, we shouldn't like, wish that to happen or like approve of the bad thing itself happening. Perhaps we can approve of the good thing that results from that. Because you're essentially saying, well, even if this bad thing happening to this one person, results in a better world, we shouldn't approve of it because it is still a bad thing. Doesn't that apply like all the way down the chain? Like even to the worst, most minute amount of suffering or amount of, like bad things happening to a bad person. If it's a slippery slope, doesn't it?
But the problem is it works both ways, and let me explain. Like if you can say that removing removing Trump would make the world a better place, okay? That argument, like should we not want this to happen because if this happens, the world would improve? This translates downward. And what I mean by that is, well, what about the people who maybe cut people off in traffic? Far less bad than Trump, but their removal would make the world a better place, would it not? And that's the slope, right? That's where it's a problem for me, because you practice justifying it at the large scale, and it becomes easier to justify it as you go down the chain.
Sure, I guess where I'm coming from this is that I think, and I know you don't I know you're not going to scold people that are like, glad if Trump stubbed his toe or something, even if you.
Yeah, whatever. Like if he gets outed in the Epstein files, I'm not going to shed a tear for people celebrating that, right? Like.
Sure, but I don't know with a media space like what it is, and with how many different fronts you have to account for in a political movement, I just don't know if how do I put this? I just don't know if that's the right thing to focus our efforts on, because I'm not a perfect person, neither are you.
Sure.
To not instinctively celebrate when bad things happen to people that you legitimately think are making the world, a worse place. I think it is just human nature to feel good about that. Even the best person, if you probably but
it's what you
a little.
Good. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's what you do with that feeling. Again, you can't help sometimes how you feel, but you can help what you do with it. Are you going to take those feelings and celebrate and indulge, or are you going to be like, and sit with it?
But what you do with it is kind of just an extension about how you feel about it. I understand you can control that, but most people, if they feel good about something, their first reaction is going to be to celebrate. And so I feel like
but hold on, just real quick. We don't act on every single urge that we get, and that's a good thing that we don't. We should not. It would be very, very bad if everyone acted immediately on everything they felt. Because if we can recognize that, it would be chaos. And
correct.
Yeah,
but it takes self-control to do that.
Yes,
and it takes a certain amount of effort and willpower,
and practice. It takes practice.
And
yes.
You necessarily have, most people have a limited amount of that. And
True.
so what I'm trying to say is I think our limited amount of energy and willpower would be better spent at doing other things.
I think we should practice with the small things like this because it's easier to practice with that, and it will help train us when the big things that happen, then the big urges come, and then we can use the training that we've had in the small little things and apply it to the bigger things. And I think that is a good place to start.
Perhaps, but it's sort of like when things are happening right now, it almost feels like we're derelicting our duties focusing on that right now when we could actively be focusing on something else. It sort of feels to me like, I don't know, imagine like that you're helping a lady, like an old lady, cross the street while there's like, I don't know, a child being kidnapped right next to you. Like, even though you helping that old lady across the street is a good thing, it almost feels immoral. In fact, I would argue it is immoral to, like, spend your time and energy helping out her with that, even though it's a good thing to do, than not trying to stop this child from being kidnapped. And so it just seems like I just can't.
Do you think it's ever okay to talk about anything other than how bad the Republicans and Trump are in this this administration? Do you think having a single conversation on the subject out of the hundreds of streams I've done is probably okay?
Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Sure. No, it's fine.
Do I think it's okay?
If I, on occasion, because look at my stream today. I know you just tuned in, but the stream today has been about the evils of Christian nationalism. And we've been focusing on that. We've been focusing on the Epstein files a little bit because of a caller earlier, but mostly it's been on Christian nationalism. If every once in a while I think it's important to bring up other things, but the main focus is me taking out the big bad, if you will, I think it's okay to focus on the little things too sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So that, and like one of the things that's pernicious is a lot of people will say, well, how can you talk about this when there's a genocide in Palestine, right? Or when there's a Trump's in office, how dare you attack me, right? How dare you, you moral frog against what I'm doing when there's murderers out there killing babies? Like, sure, yes, but you're here and you're the subject, and we're going to talk about you, right? There are worse and bigger evils and bigger threats, but that does not excuse poor behavior in little things. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think that where that analogy like necessarily doesn't apply is that I do think, and we probably disagree on this, but like I do think a certain amount of what you would call bad behavior, like it does help a movement, right? Like a certain amount of, I guess hate or whatever you would call it, a healthy amount of just dislike for these people and a necessarily like bad will towards them, I think it does help a movement. So when you talk about like,
I don't know if we hold on. I don't know if we actually disagree on that. I think that immoral things can be very effective, right? But that doesn't mean they're good to do.
In the examples you brought up where they're like, oh, like how are you talking about this when there's like a genocide happening? Like those people aren't, well, some of them are, but, at least they don't believe themselves to be, like, criticizing something that is good, but just, like, not doing it on moral grounds. Let me rephrase that. Something that would be politically effective, but, like, not doing it on moral grounds. Like, the people who, I don't know, think that you should only ever talk about Israel-Palestine and hate Israel, they also think that like that would win elections. You know what I mean? Like those people believe that if
they're wrong. I mean, yes, they might believe that, but they're wrong.
Yeah, I know, but they think that like that's why Kamala lost, and that if Kamala just like went harder into all that stuff, that she would have won. So even though they're like they actually aren't making that argument, they believe they are. So
I understand. I don't know. I just think that like there are thresholds to this where I think that yes, in extremis, then okay, we have to stop the immediate thing that's happening. We have to do some triage. But I think that too often people use that as an excuse to justify them simply having a little, what did you call it, healthy amount of hate? I don't know if there is such a thing as a healthy amount of hate. I just don't know if that's the case.
You sound like my coworker. I was, this is off topic, but like a month or two ago at my old job, I was...
Is he a cool
I'm
guy?
student
Sounds
right
like an
now.
awesome guy.
He is a cool guy, but he's a bit of a cuck. But he was very cool. But no, he was just he's younger than me. I'm 21, and like I'm still in school. So is he, and I hate math, and I have to do lots of math.
You're
to
21 years old, calling someone else younger than you. Okay.
Yeah, he's like 20 or something. He's probably 21
21.
now,
He's
actually,
so
but-
much younger. He's 20. He's crazy. That's crazy age gap there. But go
Yeah,
on.
no, but like I was talking about how much I hate math, and I was saying like if I had a time machine, I would go back in time and I would like kill Pythagoras or like all of these people. And he was like, you really shouldn't say that. It's very bad to say that. And I was like, I didn't even want to get into it with him, but so I was just like, oh yeah, I'm sure, whatever. But you're reminding me of that right now, and I maybe hate itself is like a never healthy for the individual, but I think I'm going back to like the maybe the higher order societal good. Like I think that we necessarily as a group of people, I think we need to hate like murderers. I think we need to hate like cold-blooded murderers, serial killers, like serial rapists. I don't, at least where we are right now as a society, maybe when we are more like evolved in things like mental health, where we have better technologies, better like medical, processes and stuff like that, maybe then hating people and hating these things and these evils that can happen, maybe then it won't make sense. But I think where we are, really lots of times hate is the only thing that can like truly motivate lots of people.
I will say this. I will say this in your. I hate to cut you off, but we do have a bit of a line, and I do want to get more people in. But I'll say
I'm sorry.
this.
We didn't have a line
last
when I
words.
got in, so I forgot.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I'll say this: that you're correct in that hate binds stronger than love. A shared hate for a thing, people who share hate for a thing are going to be more cohesive than people who share love for a thing. That's just true. We've seen this play out sociologically. We've seen this play out in studies. I don't have them off my fingertips, but there are studies on this that show that this is the case. And unfortunately, it's true because I think it's poisoning us. And it works short term, but long term, it's going to have crippling side effects that, well, we're beginning to see now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess. Sometimes I think the situation is dire enough where you just need to utilize like every single, and I'm not even saying we're in that situation right now, but I think there are points where you can use a little bit of hate or, a little bit of disdain. But I also understand your point about not wanting to do that. So,
well, thank you for calling in, Hazel. Talk to you later. Okay?
Yes, thank you for having me. I haven't breastfed you yet, and I'm disappointed about that fact. But there's still time.
Another time. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Hello, you're live.
Hey, buddy, how's your day going? What's going on?
What happened to you?
I shaved. I gave
My
myself
God,
a
never
little
do
bit
that
of
again.
jellyfish. Never?
Never do that
Listen,
again.
I need to remind myself every time I have a double chin. Right? I need to not hide it because I need to go to the gym as soon as possible. Every time it happens. Oh man. Hey, do you see anybody?
Hold on, no, we're not done with this. Why did you think this was a good idea? To come on live, on screen, like you are right now. Why did you think that was okay?
It will incentivize the hate that you're giving me right now will incentivize me to lose weight, which is really good for both of us.
I don't know if it's the weight thing that's the problem here, buddy. Okay.
All right, what's your problem?
I mean, the weight's part of it, but hey, glass houses, right? Glass houses, okay? Can't throw stones there.
You should.
I think it's just the face, dude. Like, you need to like, cover your face as much as possible. But I love you anyway because I don't judge you based on your looks, okay? But continue. What's your point?
That's healthy. That's very healthy. I appreciate that. So Do you see any difference between the guy? I do. Do you see any difference between the guy that you just had on and Charlie, and their approaches to kind of attacking people personally, or attacking or feeling hate or disgust to people?
There probably are differences, absolutely. I think that like the setting might be responsible for those differences, though, right? Like, so the fact that Charlie was on an adversarial podcast where she knew everyone was against her, and she had been sitting there for like a few hours getting back and forth with someone who's Andrew Wilson, right? I think that puts it in a different context than a call-in show where I'm being pleasant to all my callers, and it's not really an adversarial setting yet.
I was going to say the other way. I think that what Charlie did was moral in a way, whereas your last caller, I don't really see them as in that way.
Hold on. Why was what Charlie did moral, but what Hazel did immoral?
Because Charlie is attacking somebody else on their own belief system and kind of testing them to see, hey, does this have any kind of foundation to it? Is it strong? Can it meet the pressure that real life was going to inflict on your beliefs? And I think if the answer to that question is no, I don't think that what Charlie did was bad at all. I think that these people, Andrew Wilson and the Christian Nationalists that you were playing a trailer of, I think should be mocked and ridiculed because they are fake and gay. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, but again, I think that yes, but there are certain things that we do not use as weapons against other people. And I think that people's wives and children are not something that should be used as weapons against other people. Just as a general rule.
But we do.
Yeah, but as a general rule, I think that's wrong to do. I think that if you are choosing a weapon to attack and mock someone, and you're choosing their children or you're choosing their spouse, that in most cases, I won't say every case because there are certain instances where I think, I'll give you an example. If we were having a debate, and in the debate, I kept bringing up my family as an example for why you're wrong, okay? And my family, my children, my wife, my husband, my whatever, right? They're the reason that you're wrong. Then I think it's okay because you have introduced them into the discourse. You have used them to weaponize your point. Then at that point, you have made them fair game. Now, I didn't watch the whole debate, but I don't think Andrew Wilson did that during that debate. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, then I take back everything I said.
I think your personal life does open that up less so. Less so, we could definitely agree. Even if you say they're both still off the table, your personal life, bring your personal life into it. Like, I'm going to be a family values person. This is what we need to abide by. This is what needs to be legally implemented across the states. I feel like that is absolutely fair game because the biggest question of what's going to be legal or not is ultimately enforcement.
Now, just enforcement. We'll get into that in a second. But Zero Fox says something that I think is worth talking about because I think it's interesting. What if Charlie had made the same exact point but presented it as a hypothetical person? This is something that the prophet Samuel in the scriptures did with King David, right? After he slept with this dude's wife and then sent this dude to die in the front lines because he didn't want him to find out that he had gotten his lady knocked up. Okay. Samuel presented the case as a hypothetical guy, and King David condemned the hypothetical guy. And then Samuel was like, King David, that guy is you. And it was like, oh shit moment in the Bible. It was a really good story. If that's what Charlie had done, then okay. That changes the dynamic here. If she had said, man, you know what? Like, there's this guy I know, and this guy, he's kind of a simp. He's kind of a cuck, okay? He married this chick, okay? She had like 3 baby daddies before him, 2 baby daddies before him. She's been knocked up, okay? She had a bunch of kids, and what would you say about that guy that took in this girl, right? And just started simping for her and supporting her, right? When she wasn't even living her values. And then then Andrew had started calling him a cuck or a simp or something like that. Then I think it'd be fair game to say, Andrew, that man is you. But that again is a dangerous thing because he might not answer how you would like. It's a tricky thing to pull off. So
Yeah. No, shoot. No major disagreements there. It is better if you get people to condemn what they are doing. It's better, sure, if you could bait them into doing it. But like you said, there's all these different ways that you could trade off or try to escape. But I think once you open the door of like personal values, your personal life, I think that is a point at which you could just say, no, we're gonna go in just a little bit, right? We could dip in a little bit.
no, sure. Again, kids and wives off limits. Kids and spouses, I should say, off limits in that. Like if I presented myself as a macho man, okay, and I'm like, yeah, I work out every day. I go and I lift, and I'm such a strong man, and I think if you don't lift, you're gay and fake or whatever. And then you find information that I've never been into the gym in the last 10 years, okay? That's okay to call out.
That's fake news.
Yeah, I would be lying.
I saw you at the gym yesterday.
Well,
Listen,
I'm giving you an example, okay?
Yeah.
I don't think it's okay to bring up people's children. Again, just as a general rule.
In an abortion debate, it feels kind of hard though, because like we're talking about kids.
No, you don't bring up your kids as defense or as an offense when it comes to abortion. Like I just don't think that that's something you should do. And if someone brings up their own
don't use them as a shield either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If someone's like, if someone comes up and is like, yeah, you're for abortion, so you want my kids to be dead, then you brought your kids into this situation as a shield, and you've made it fair game to attack them.
Yeah,
and that's
I'm at the loss if I don't
frankly.
attack them at that point. I'm kind of forced to. I have to say, especially your kids, or else I'm leaving points on the table.
Don't bring your family as a defense for things.
No. I don't know. I compare that to what the last caller was doing, where it's just kind of a generalized, well, isn't like a little bit of hate good? Isn't a little, like there's no test for it. It's just, well, if I call Nick Fuentes a Nazi, or if I call Trump a Nazi, if I call Biden a communist, if I just call these people whatever, then, is it a little bit of hate good? And it's not. It's not healthy. We've already gotten to see that play out on like wide slices of our existing society. Go out and say, well, I could steal a little bit of food. I could steal a little bit of deodorant. That'd be fine.
There are thresholds, obviously.
A little bit of shampoo.
Like, I am going to, if I'm starving or my kid is starving, I'm going to steal. That's just going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not what they're using this justification for. They're saying, well, my kid needs an N64 or whatever, a GameCube or PlayStation 5 or whatever. I would be just starving my child if I didn't steal this PlayStation 5 for my child, right? Which is obviously something way different. But this is the mindset they use. Can you do me a favor? I want you to grow your beard back, buddy. I don't want to ever see you like this again, okay? Can you do me that favor?
At least you're going to see it at least one more time.
Oh, no. I'll see you later. We'll get to who's in chat right now, and then we'll end. Gang, keep sending me super chats, and I'll keep reading your super chats. Hello. You're live.
Hey, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, no. I was gonna come in and talk to you about. It might be a while ago, but your conversation about food stamps, and
this is from a couple, a
ago.
week ago. I know what you're talking about. What's
yeah,
up?
Yeah. No, I was. You and I kind of had a little bit of a dabble in the tech chat about this a bit about WIC and stuff. So I think my curiosity is, what do you? Because I don't think I really drummed out your position.
What do I think about food stamps?
Well, the idea of like cookies and soda was
sure.
the topic at hand.
No, I get you. I think that we shouldn't be over policing what people choose to buy with their food. Do I think that people should buy cookies and all these things and sugars and stuff with their food stamps and their EBT? Probably not, but I don't think it's that big of a deal if they want to use their ABT to get their kids a cookie or get themselves a treat now and again. Now, obviously, people can abuse this, but we don't build systems based on what people will abuse and not abuse, right? We build systems so that people have the freedom of choice to pick what they would like to eat, what they would like to feed their kids, and I think it's perfectly okay to have soda and stuff as an occasional EBT purchase. I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah. So, a little bit of my background. I used to be, well, back then I was a single dad. Actually, I was with my ex-wife at the time, but then I became a single dad and had EBT. One of the things that I kind of learned was when Gen Z, Gen Z attorney, came in and said, "What's the nutrition for soda or cookies?" One of the things that you kind of understand is that cookies or soda contain a high amount of sugar. They also do contain a high amount of carbohydrate. And for anybody who understands what that is, for diabetics that or hypoglycemics, that is almost like required. So my dad has hypoglycemia. He literally has to chug a cherry duck or cherry coke a day. Otherwise, he's like could he do other things? Possibly, but when he goes to work, like he doesn't really have access to those very carbohydrate dense foods that he really needs. So like for him, soda's the thing that helps him with work and concentration, and then also on the side just keeps him alive. And my brother, type 1 diabetic with a little bit of a side of epilepsy, also uses cookies or soda to help manage that. But that's like a last ditch effort. It's not like the first line of defense.
Yeah. Again, this showcases why some decisions for a normal person might be totally unreasonable. For someone in a different context and a different circumstance, it might be very reasonable indeed. And that's why it's kind of a nightmare to legislate these things and legislate for all the exceptions when no real harm is done, I don't think, by just allowing the person to use their ABT to purchase whatever food product that they wish. Now, we can recognize that they have chosen poorly in many cases, but I'm a freedom of choice guy for the most part. Okay, there are obviously exceptions. And I choose to let my tax money go to a program where people can buy a soda if they're on food stamps. That's my vote, and that's my choice. So.
Well, I guess this is kind of the question too for me is I kind of feel like I'd have to even reject the idea that it's even your money, because at that point the government's taking that money almost in the same way that the it's a fun thing. I also pay child support. I wouldn't say it's my money that's going to I would say, yeah, it's my money, but it's not my money that's going to like my ex-wife. It's going to my son. At that point, I feel like it's almost equivocation. Like it's
Yeah, but
here.
hold
Like,
on.
my money.
Hold on. If you found out that your ex-wife or whoever was spending all the money, all your child support money on going on cruises and not taking care of your kid, you'd feel a certain way, right? Wouldn't you?
Would I feel a certain way? Yes, but at that point, it's not my money. It's for my son at that point. Even though it's being like mismanaged or misused, I would probably have to. I would bite the bullet and say no. I would. It's for my ex-wife to decide.
That's what you
Even
feel.
though I'd say it's irresponsible.
Yeah, I would be taken. I would be mad. I would be angry. Right now, again, these are different situations. I don't mean to equate the two, but there is an argument, even though I disagree with it, that we should heavily restrict the access of what people who are on the dole have access to. And there's a myriad of arguments in that case. I'm my argument against that is that, look, we are going to be spending much more time, effort, resources on trying to restrict these things and restrict access to these things. And that should be going to perhaps better programs, and our energy can be spent in better ways. We do not have infinite amounts of time, resources, or energy. Let the guys get a cookie now and again. It's not the end of the world.
Oh yeah, everything's pretty much fine in moderation. Like, yeah, I guess there were other people on there that were saying people should be smart. They should spend it on the 2 liter of soda. I'd probably say, yeah, sure, that's like understandable. But then at that point, you're ceding the argument, and you're not saying like, I don't want you to make unhealthy choices. I'm just not okay with you using your money to purchase something if you can buy something cheaper, but that's the same product. So like, instead of buying a 20 liter 8 set of Mountain Dew, you buy like a 2 liter Mountain Dew. Go with that. So at that point, I feel like people are just saying, I'd see the entire debate of I'm fine with you making unhealthy choices, so long as you're financially responsible.
Fair enough. Lactoid, if you want to have a debate on this at some point, we can arrange it. Okay. I see your comment in chat, but anyway, thanks for calling in, buddy. Okay.
Anytime. Have a good.
Bye. Hello, you're live.
Hello.
Hi.
Wonderful. I just wanted to mention about the first video I think you showed, which was the guy commenting on how he perceives modern Christians.
Okay.
And I got to be honest, I think that's great. I wouldn't express it like that, but I think the fact that
Can we watch the clip again
unquote,
together, just real quick? Because
Sure.
I think a lot of people didn't see it. Better here now. Let's watch the clip. I think it's worth watching.
What do you see as the greatest threat to Christian nationalism as it's trying to make its roots?
Christians.
How so?
Christians are gay. Fake and gay, to be more precise. Christianity is a feminized religion.
Okay. Beautiful. Now that everyone knows what we're talking about, continue.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem with a religion being feminized, quote unquote, whatever he wants to express with that. I associate a bunch of positive attributes with things being feminized and also being fake. If he means that modern Christians don't literally adhere to the words that are in the Bible, especially most of the stuff in the Old Testament, then I think that's only positive. It's good because they fit better in a liberal worldview where we try to live together and cooperate with each other and not slaughter each other for the different beliefs and religions that we have.
I mean, fair enough. I think that it just demonstrates the disdain that most Christian nationalists have for actual Christians. And remember, this was made by someone, right? This was put together by someone who has positive views to Christian nationalism. This wasn't a hit piece or a parody. This is something they actually think is a good argument. But go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not defending the guy. I'm putting a positive spin on the things that he said because I think what he views as negatives, I view as positives. He thinks it's fake and gay. He thinks it's weak. That's probably what he means with feminine, that it's weak and not masculine, not powerful and strong and domineering.
I think he means that, but he also means that women are in it, right? Because these are the same types of people who want to repeal the 19th, who want to make sure that no women don't speak in church, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I don't have a lot. I just wanted to come on and say I think there's a positive spin to this. If they view it as weak, if they view it as giving space to other people who have different opinions, then that's great. I love my neighbor who's a devout Christian, but he's not an extremist. He's not a Christian nationalist, and so I can live with him in the same building. Yeah, exactly. He's just a good dude.
Yeah, that's the good kind of Christian, the actual Christian kind of Christian, and I find them vanishingly rare, unfortunately, these days. And I think that Christian nationalism and ideologies like that aren't exactly Christian nationalism, but orbit that kind of area and are adjacent to that, have poisoned Christianity in a real way. And it's a shame, actually, because Christianity, when actually practiced, I think is a very powerful, positive force for good in the world. But thank you for calling in, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, have a great day. Mr. Alleged Anti-Nazi there. Okay, gang, that's the show. I hope you guys liked it. I know it's a little bit of a shorter stream. Well, it didn't turn out to be a shorter stream. We talked for more than I expected to. But I know it was kind of scattered today. We didn't cover anything super exciting. But I appreciate you showing up and voicing your opinion and having a chat. Remember, tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, okay, we're going to be talking about the future of MAGA without Trump. What's next for the MAGA movement? Where does it go from here? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to have some great people on to talk about that. Should be fun. Thursday is the big one, gang. Thursday is the one you don't want to miss. 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have Counterpoints. We're going to have Prime Kai. We're going to have Staxiums. The last guy to talk to Charlie Kirk while he got shot. We're going to have that guy on. Staxiums, okay? And we're going to have Destiny, okay? And we're going to be answering the question, when the Democrats win power, do we host the Nuremberg-style trials for MAGA? Okay. Do we put them up? Even if they get pardoned, do we ignore that and start to prosecute everything, no matter how big or small? Do we do that? Is that a good strategy for the Democrats? Okay. Tune in. Should be fun. It'll be a great discussion. I'll see you guys. Who's streaming? Mooncake? You guys want to go see Mooncake? Let's go see and say hi to Mooncake. Give me 1 second. Make sure you let her know this is a hate raid. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cool? Hope so. Bye.